Hello everyone, my name is SiC. Welcome back to Old Worlds, where we are in the home stretch to winning an ambition victory, but we are also actually getting pretty close to a victory point victory. We'll see what happens first, but we only have 16 more years to finish this ambition of controlling free heated baths, which I think we might not finish because our cities are simply not cultured enough, and I am fast tracking it as much as I can, but yeah, it's not going to be super fast. In the meantime though, I also want to see if I can improve our civics ratings, because we have governors that we need to put into different cities, and yeah, we simply don't have the civics to be able to do that. So we're just going to get started here. We're going to continue with our workers. Why are you not moving? There we go. We're going to make a farm right here because, yeah, we're just increasing our stockpiles of everything. Stone is getting a little bit low, so that is something that we should try to get started on as well. We're definitely not in a deficit anytime soon, but we could definitely use more of it. So another quarry right there in the desert sounds good. And what do we want to do here? We could go for a garrison, but we really don't need the orders. Right here would be a good place for a quarry as well, adjacent to the mountains, flat ground. So we'll go ahead and take that, and we could make a harbor here for some extra money. Money is decent, but also not incredibly necessary at this point. We could make a hamlet here, close to the roads and stuff. I think that might be useful. Let's go ahead and make a hamlet there. We're not going to see it turn into any type of city, I think, but that's fine. That's whatever. How are we looking in Gortin with the... Yeah, we have a strong culture, but it takes 54 more years, so 54 more turns for that to yield any kind of benefits. So, yeah, that's not great. Let's go ahead. Oh, we could make a market here or an amphitheater for more culture. I think we're going to invest in an amphitheater, but yeah, that takes 7 years. It's going to boost this, and then like by that time our legacy is gone. So the culture level is nice, but it's definitely not something that like benefits us greatly. Now we have a market over here. We could put a shopkeeper in here, and that will gain us more money per turn. Because it looks like this is a massive number, but you can also very easily just spend it all in like a few turns. So let's go ahead and put a master poet, though we don't really need the culture here. What do we want to do? I guess we could put a miner in here and get a border expansion. That's decent. And in Larissa, ooh, that is a massive border expansion. Look at that. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll put a stone cutter in here. Gives us some civics as well, so that is actually really nice. And over here, an apprentice scribe for more civics as well. This border patrol or border expansion would have been really nice. But like I said, we're going to go invest in civics a little bit more, because that keeps jumping up and down. I'm still not entirely sure why. But yeah, then we're going to do the same here in Region. And in Atalaya, we have some options. A master poet could give us the same, and I think that will be worth it. So it's going to take 6 years, but I think that is fine. We only have strong culture here, so that's not great. And look at that, now we're at -3. So I'm very curious. Like, this is all upkeep, and I understand that part. We also just have a ton of production, and we're like, it keeps jumping up and down so much. That is just strange to me. But it's fine. Like, we also need an ambassador, we need a chancellor, and we simply don't have the civics right now to do it. So, yeah. That's just something we have to deal with. Sadly, turns are a little bit... let's go ahead and skip the animations, I guess. Okay, that just went super fast. Right, we have a volcanic eruption near Pergamon. Down here, alright. So we have discovered economic reform, so that gives us another victory point. And governor of Trapezus, Academia District, is feeling ill. Chilonis becomes a courtier, a new court merchant. Her keen attention to economic affairs will help Greece prosper. Alright, age 25, an orator, a naturalist. She likes us and gives us some more civics as well as money. That is really good. Welcome. And then I guess, yeah, out of these three, military prestige is the fastest, and we'll give some of the victory points, so we'll keep going. And with that, yeah, we are now at 60 out of 68, 7 whole points ahead of everyone else. Clisthenes, the governor of Apollonia, can become strict, frugal, or a delver. And we have some mines around here, so maybe delver would be decent, because then that increases our production, and now we are at 90 stone production per turn, which is really, really good. Alright. As for this territory, we have largely finished building improvements here. Let's go ahead and build a mine. Next unit, this guy. Let's go ahead over here and build a quarry next to the mountain. Yeah, look at that. That is not particularly great. We have some destroyed improvements, which is always bad. As for these guys, this guy can have a very cheap promotion, so we're going to go ahead and give him, like, leads to swift, +3 vision, +1 reveal. It's not really necessary, so we're going to give him combat 1. We have a free promotion over here, so I guess I will give him combat 1. Analysis then, what are we going to be building here? Like, we could try to get more border expansions. We could, if we build a woodcutter here, we get access to this tile, which means another quarry could be made. So that is what we're going to do. Takes 3 years, that is absolutely fine. And over here we don't have any citizens, but we could upgrade an elder philosopher, or we could invest in something else, like, for example, 80 civics production. That produces 80 civics, alright. Archive 3, there we go, Archive 4. And then we have a worker over here. You could do something useful around here, or I guess we will go for a camp on the elephants. Why not? Alright, so we could go for free promotions if we simply put you here, and then also we could anchor him, I suppose, connecting these two cities. That's nice. And with that, we already reached the end of the year, and we are still at 91 civics and only producing 0.5. Like I said, it really jumps up and down in strange ways. We could go for some promotions maybe, because we have a lot of stockpiles, so we could use some stronger troops. So let's go ahead and brave. Sure. Well, we'll promote these two. Amphibious, focus 1, fierce. We'll give them fierce. And then that is it for this year. So let's end it and see what the next one brings. Alright, we'll try to skip the animations for all of these. We control a pretty sizable chunk of the map, though we are definitely not the biggest empire when you look at all of this. Alright, a caravan mission arrives from Rome, giving us 1900 gold. That is really nice. Severely ill, Hephaestion of Sparta fears she does not have much time left, alright. And Academia is now contemplating her place in the afterlife, so both of them are going to die very, very soon. Sharing the loot. The forces of Assyria have recently sacked a barbarian encampment, and they find themselves flush with plunder. King Ashurbanipal II, the new of Assyria, wishes to offer us some of the spoils as a gesture of his ongoing friendship. We have our choice of treasure. Slaves to work the fields. We cannot do that because we don't have slavery. We could go for gems from looted tombs. Cryptic scrolls and carvings for extra science that might shave off one turn. And let Ashurbanipal keep it all for himself. He will like us more, and then he owes us a favor. That could be useful. We don't really particularly need anything else. Right, so the art of governance. In addition to his studies, Kaimon has been shadowing you at meetings and other duties to learn the art of governance. You are trapped in a lengthy and dull meeting with a delegation of elders from Region who are requesting that the governor be appointed to oversee the city. To everyone's surprise, it is Kaimon who suddenly speaks up, suggesting that both Dedemia the Bitter and Odeta the Minister are fine candidates for the role. Age 12, my heir. Alright. Or no, my son, not my heir, because this is my heir. Is Kaimon rising to the occasion or overstepping his bounds? It's decent, I think. We can go with Odeta the Minister. And when these events pop up, it doesn't cost us any civics, which is really nice. And we actually have enough civics to appoint a new ambassador or a chancellor. We don't particularly need them right now, I think. But we could see what kind of bonuses we get, like only a bit of gold per turn. It's not great. Minus growth, minus everything here for these. Well, it's just a little bit for this guy, for example, and that gives us a lot of training, but we have plenty of training. So I think at this point we don't particularly care. What we do care about is maybe putting a governor in one of these border cities, like in Gortin. And anyone like this one, Charlonis the Merchant, this is a really good one. Civics, happiness, gold, and extra wood per turn. So we're going to go ahead and choose her, and with that we are now down to 12 civics, but we have a governor here boosting the culture a little bit more. And this is still important even if we're not going to make our current goal of our current ambition, because probably our next ambition is going to be equally difficult, and the more options we have in each city, the faster we will be able to construct whatever we need to construct. So yeah, it's good to keep pushing this. Right, so a hamlet. What do we want to build next to the hamlet? There are things that benefit from that. Odeon and baths, yeah. We could start working for Atalaya as well, put some improvements for that one. Estates, food, or a quarry. We just go for a quarry. We're investing heavily into that now. As to over here, is there anything that we could invest in that gives us more civics? An apprentice scribe would be a decent choice here, I think. We have 7 citizens. So let's go ahead and invest in that. And then what else? An apprentice doctor for growth. We don't particularly need growth, but science, nah. None of that is particularly useful. We are already at legendary 1. A stone cutter, a miner, a farmer. We'll go for a master scribe, and then we'll go for an elder scribe. And that saves us some choices for the future. Speed things along. Alright, over here, what do we want to do? We can go for Archive, Festival, Inquiry 4. Adds more culture per year. We are legendary here, but we could go to legendary 2 pretty soon. There we go, we'll pick that one. And then Uruk. What do we want to do? Training any type of military unit is still going to take forever, which is not great. A woodcutter, a trapper. None of this particularly helps us in terms of production. Growth could be decent, or we could go for remote for extra defenses. I think that is the way to go. Alright, so now we'll move on to Larissa. Like, border expansion would be really nice. Growth and food, also good for that city. And here we can invest in culture again. So let's go ahead and put a gardener in here. Pergamon, we could go for this mine, increase our money output. Or we could try to go for that border expansion. I think that's the way to go. It takes 9 years, which is a really long time. But yeah, I think it's worth it. And then we are in Gortin. So here we want to boost culture as much as possible still, because we have access to rivers. We can go for a miner on top of the salt. And with that, we have reached the end of another year. So, let's see what the next one brings. I'm really hoping for an alternative ambition to pop up soon. I wonder if we can just cancel it now. We can abandon it, and then that might speed things along, because we already know we're not going to be making this one. Right, and we are still boosting culture in all of these cities. Alright, so the governor of Pergamon has died in office. Rome has become manichaeist, and they went from angry to cautious. That's nice. Matriarch Moralia of Region is severely ill, leaving her barely able to walk, so she might die pretty soon. And afflicted by night constant vomiting and diarrhea, Clisthenes of Gortin is severely ill as well. That's not great. Alright. What are we going to be doing here? What can we do in the desert? Not really. Nothing. Not really anything. That's what I meant. A farm will be really poor. A quarry. Next unit. Another worker. Maybe we can send you down south a little bit. Let's move you over here so you can start repairing things. There's a bit of lag sometimes, which is really strange for a single player game. Because the game runs fine, like it runs really well, but yeah, just every once in a while it will just like lag for little bits when pressing a button. Which I'm not sure what causes it, but yeah. That's just the way things are, I suppose. Alright, here let's go ahead and make a farm right there on the corner of the land. There's not a lot of farms here, and I think they could use one. This goes into global stockpile anyway, so it's fine, but if something happens to one of our other cities, we will have a backup. Alright, so we do have an Odeon here, and hamlets get a benefit from that. So if we go ahead and build a hamlet here, then we boost the Odeon. Over here we'll go for a lumber mill, and then for this unit, what do we want to do here? A library, not really worth it. We will not be able to make the baths. Ooh, we do have access to crabs though, so that is an obvious easy choice. And then here, the master officer, let's go for that, because then it will boost our ability to build troops really quick. And then in Nicomedia, a really big city with a lot of options, but no citizens. Yeah, let's go. Ooh, swordsman in 1 year. That is kind of nuts, huh? Alright, let's build 2 swordsmen over here. And then let's have a look. Do we get any free promotions for our units? Not yet. We could spend some training on that. That would not be a bad thing. But there are probably cheaper ones that we could benefit from. upgrading you to a swordsman or to a pikeman. Let's upgrade you to a pikeman actually. Spend a bit of money. Higher tier units are always worth something. Is there anywhere that we could put you for training? Doesn't look like it. I kind of want to keep him here. So maybe we'll move you up to the hills here and then put you into a fortified position. Anything else? That one is too expensive. 30. We'll take that one. Can do strike 2, focus 1, tracker or shield bearer. We'll go with shield bearer, and with that it is at max level, so we can move this one somewhere else in the near future. Yeah, we upgraded these recently. This one is at max level. Like, we could add generals, but this also costs. Oh, this doesn't cost, and oh, this costs training. Oh, okay. We should have done this a long time ago. We have idle candidates. Let's actually put King Leonidas into this maximum upgraded unit. Yeah. Should have done that ages ago. That's add another general. That's a lot of good benefits. Though we could probably add Hyparchia, the minister, for the extra defense, because yeah, that one is not the frontline unit. So with that in mind, let's see. Counteraxe during melee, Perdiccas. Awesome. We'll go ahead and take that, and then probably we should put one up in here as well. Let's add a general to this unit. Governor Pericles, the Rising Star. Look at that. That is a lot of good bonuses. Go ahead and invest in that. And can we add a general to you? One that is beneficial. That's pretty decent. Alright, and with that I think that's enough for this year. So, let's go ahead and end this year. And I wish I had paid attention to that a lot sooner. We could have had generals on the field a long time ago. Right, we'll try to skip these animations, speed this up a little bit. Maybe we should have cancelled this ambition. I guess we'll do that next year. Because none of my cities is going to be cultured enough to actually have this be a thing that we can reasonably do. Academia has died in office, Moralia has died in office, and so has Cleisthenes. Alright, Matriarch Hannah the Witty is now the head of Zoroastrianism, and Diodorus of Greek paganism. And Timea the Uncouth is now head of the Alcmaeonid family. Alright, sure. Alright, so let's go ahead and cancel this. That's a choice, and now let's hope some new ambition pops up in the near future. What do we want to do here? We'll go for a windmill, I suppose. At this point we don't really need it, and it's just kind of for the looks, you know, but that's whatever. Right, over here we could maybe use a fort. Right on the border. There we go. And then what are we going to do here? A ministry. Ooh, ministry will be good. Sure. Lots more civics, which we do need. Alright, we are going to put you in sentry mode because we're already going through the units. Alright, so we have a new swordsman unit. Let's go ahead and march you over in this direction, and then we'll go give you your first promotion, which is going to be strike 1, I think. Alright, Ambrasia then. What are we going to do? A master poet is the only upgrade that we could do. Manichaean disciple we don't really need. Worker, scouts, conscripts. None of that is particularly useful. So we could invest in other stuff. We could go for archive. For treasury. Treasury 2, I suppose. And look at that, we are very low on stone. So it's actually kind of difficult to invest in things like that. What do we want to do here? It takes a long time to... Let's do Olympiad 4, I suppose. And then you can repeat that again. Interesting. We cannot put a governor in here, so we're not going to do that. And then we're going to put a stone cutter in here just for the border expansion, not because we need the stone production, though it will be nice. And like at this point, it's really beneficial that we invested so heavily in more quarries, you know. Alright, let's go ahead and put a trapper in here. We don't need the orders, but I kind of want the border expansion, so we can build a lumber mill in that forest there in the near future. And what are we going to do with you? Hamlet, the Pantheon would still be an option, but we don't have the... Yeah, let's go with quarry, I suppose. That's decent. Yeah, we need a lot more stone for the Pantheon, and we are saving money, but it's going to be really expensive to invest properly in the amount of stone we need, and also we don't really know when we're going to have enough civics to invest in that. So what do we have here? We have dyes. And we do have a family, the Kypselids, that want access to dyes. So we're going to send that to them on the next turn. Right. Carthage has begun construction of the museum. Oh, we were kind of saving up for that as well for a little bit, but yeah, it's too late for that now. Assyria is a piece of Babylonia. Carthage, Queen Isabel the Ambitious of Carthage is dead, and Tubabath has taken over. Satanice the Blessed, my aunt and spy master, is severely ill and contemplating her place in the afterlife. And my brother, Duke Hippostratus, follows a strict regime, has gained discipline. Alright, that is nice. My son, Caiman the Cruel, fidgets during conversations and has difficulty concentrating when not physically active. To what discipline should he apply this energy? Digging for ancient artifacts or gathering herbs in the forest? No, definitely becoming a delver, because that is the most energy demanding activity. The glory of Greece is known throughout the world, your rule standing atop a golden age built by your predecessors. As you reflect upon the achievements of your ancestors, a desire grips you to make an indelible mark will surpass all others, ensuring that you and your people will always be remembered. What will be your national ambition? Are a final and necessary component of an ambition victory. Right. Support the Arjats to desire to capture 5 foreign cities. The Almanids to build a university, palace and a citadel. Alright, and this is not the legacy I want to leave behind. Well, we are not going to capture 5 foreign cities with the armies that we have, or the armies that they have. But building a university, a palace and a citadel, that is very doable, and in fact we already have one of those 3. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We have a university, we just need a palace and a citadel. Alright. As for you, what are we going to invest in? Cultivator, Delver, Kurkira. It's a bit of everything. And I think we're going to go with Warlike. Alright, so a palace requires habitable land, legendary culture, and requires a ministry. And that requires strong culture. As for the citadel, requires a stronghold. Alright, we have started building some strongholds. A university, we have one of those, it's not what we need. We can build a fort. I don't quite remember if we build a stronghold as an improvement. But let's start with the fort, I suppose. As to here, a citadel is possible. And so that is what we're going to want to go for. But we need 100 stone. So we'll go ahead and buy some. Replaces the hamlet, sure. Absolutely. 8 years and we'll have a citadel. So what is left is a palace. And that requires a ministry. Now I wonder, what would be really nice? Yeah, we have a ministry here. Perfect. A palace. And we need some stone. So let's go ahead and actually buy some stone. Cancel the academy. And we are going to go for a palace. And that is 7 years, but with that, we have basically won the game in about 8 turns. Because that is how long it takes to finish the citadel. Perfect. So, let us go ahead and, yeah. At this point, we know victory is assured. This will be my first ambition victory, which is really interesting. I really like that, as opposed to just having a victory point win. Because that is just kind of boring. Like, that was my first win. And it was just simply the first thing that I could actually manage to do. And, you know, that's absolutely fine. But it's, yeah, it was just a lot more interesting to go for these different mini objectives, you know, like that kind of forces you into different, yeah, choices, different paths that you might want to take. Actually, let's go ahead and fortify you. We'll go ahead and invest in a master poet and Ambrasia. We can increase the master poets. We don't really need it at this point, but let's go ahead and end this year. And at this point, yeah, we could go for another video, because I probably have already been playing for half an hour, which is probably the ideal length of these videos. But knowing I only have 8 more turns to go, you know, I don't want to put that into a separate video, so this one is just going to be a bit longer. And we're just going to kind of rush through these turns, because these guys are not catching up, and they don't actually go for ambition victories either, I think. Right, military prestige, so we go up to 61. Governor of Korkira is rather ill, but she will probably recover, and so has actually my aunt, which is cool. We are now the Brilliant, giving us more legitimacy. Ferretima becomes a courtier. Has joined the court. Her experience in matters of war will help keep Greece safe. Alright, welcome Ferretima. And then it doesn't really matter which one we pick of these, because they all take equally long, and the only benefit is victory points. The Olympiad has finished. In Ialysus, the priests of Zeus have declared that there will be sacred games performed in Ialysus after the funeral games of old. Greeks from across the nation are invited to compete, while family rivalry is already heating up. Backing the Argead contender, the young Scion Telesilla the Zealot, the other members of your family ask you to motivate the athlete to avoid the shame of losing. Offer gold if she becomes the winner. Ignore the game and use your time for ruling instead. Suggest that she tries cheating. Use pride for your nation. Let's go with some money. Let's go for a lumber mill right there, because that's a very dense forest. And maybe, yeah, we can make a harbor right there. This would be a good city for a harbor, actually. A garrison. Enable strongholds, right. So you need a garrison, then a stronghold, and these are all tile improvements. Good to remember. We'll go for a mine right there, because it's the best value that we can get out of it, and we already produce so much. And let's go for a windmill right there, because at this point it doesn't really matter. Let's go for a mine. A lumber mill. And then we'll just move you over here, fortify this border a little bit. And that's it. And then production over here. Some more stone. A festival. Our happiness already though is quite high. Well, the philosopher, that's it. And then also we should send dyes to the Kipsalit family. There we go. Now they love us more and we have provided them everything that they want. Kind of surprising that that is not an achievement actually, because that would be an interesting achievement. A miner over there. A master poet. Nicomedia. Let's go ahead with a stone cutter. And then in Nicomedia over here. Only thing we can do is increase the level of our officer. We'll do that 2 times, I guess. And then we're going to go ahead and enter the year. And we'll skip the animations as well. I mean, we don't... Yeah, alright. At this point we do have some civics and we could invest in a governor. But, yeah, look at that. This is going to be done in 6 turns, actually in 5. Once this is past us. Alright, the caravan from Rome arrives again. We have conversion to Manichaeism by Chilonis, and Phthia of Aeolus is no longer ill and has fully recovered. There is yet time. We have an event. Alright, Patriarch Diodorus the Wanton, the head of our Greek paganism religion, implores me, do not let Greece turn its back on the gods. He talks of a younger generation who do not even know the ancient games, of traditions fallen from practice, of a casual disrespect for the old ways. When the gods hear our worship, they are a shield against all misfortune and a sword against their enemies. Should we falter, I fear in time Sparta will not stand as the mighty pillar of a great nation, but a monument of hubris built of rubble and bones. When it said, the gods shall hear our worship, you shall oversee a great feast and offerings in the ancient tradition. The gods shall hear our worship, a pyre of offerings reaching up to the heavens shall shine as bright as our piety. Or hear the people, Diodorus. Times are changing and Greece enters a new age. We'll go ahead and it doesn't really matter which one we pick, though we have a ton more wood. So, but this is ancient tradition, so I think we'll go for that one. That might be the best opportunity, or that might lead to the best results. Members of the Atalaya leadership request the assistance of our royal engineers. They wish to experiment with a sanitary system of disposing of sewage, and vaulted ceilings are central to their designs. The idea has merits. Perhaps we should explore it further. We can get a stone cutter or fund the development of a sewage system. Yeah, we'll go ahead and spend some money on that. That is definitely worth it. And it seems that this lag kind of occurs after an event, as the game is trying to catch up or something. Let's go ahead and put a mine in there. A market, sure, some more money. We'll go ahead and get a lumber mill right here in Uruk. And maybe we should go for a farm here as well, just to fill up that empty space a little bit. Here we have our harbor, which is nice. We'll go ahead and put a farm right there. And then we'll just put in some more choices, not because they matter particularly much, but just so that we don't have to go through this again and we can go through the last few turns a little bit more quickly. So that is 5 turns, 8 turns in total, and by that time the game will be over. And we will have won a ambition victory. Right, okay, so 6 more turns. 5 more turns for the palace. But that is absolutely fine. These guys are not catching up. They get some victory points from cities that they have. And from wonders that they built. Some from technologies. Oh, we have a tribal raid near Ephesus. Interesting, we don't have a lot of troops there, I think. Babylonia is now at peace with Rome, and Assyria declares war on Rome. Feretima has converted to Manichaeism, and my cousin has grown more confident and charming. She has gained charisma. Alright, nice. As a trade offer, court merchants have arrived from Rome with an offer of trade. They believe our nations would grow and prosper from improved trade relations. Stone. For now we prefer not to trade because I want to keep my stone. And we have a mercenary raid as well. Word has reached the court that raiders from a distant land are bearing down... Oh, okay, this is the same attack. On Ephesus. These warriors from beyond the edges of the known world are mercenaries, wandering armies who fight for the highest bidder and defend the legendary trade routes between their distant nations. But now an unknown paymaster has directed this force at us. Luckily, the loyalty of these troops can be bought, and a number of their commanders have shown themselves willing to fight for us against their own in return for a steady upkeep. Oh. Need archers to defend the city, hire their finest riders, or we should not make a deal with those who can be bought so easily. And I think we'll go ahead and get a an archer right there, because we don't have troops in that area. But that's an interesting mechanic as well, that you can just get raiders from distant lands arriving from different parts that you thought were safe, you know. Right, so a younger son of Carthage's royal family has presented himself in Uruk as a defector and a great admirer of the culture of Greece. Interesting, Carthage is upset. Take him into custody and make sure Carthage learns of our leverage. Support his dreams of leading an artistic community in Uruk. Gains work of art, that's interesting. This will give us some legitimacy, going up to 290, so that might actually be good. Convince him to return to his homeland and heal the divide between our nations. And we can do that because I am charming. And Carthage will like us more. Yeah, let's go for the legitimacy. Let's boost that up as much as we can. Tactics studies. Now that Cimon of Sparta has completed his studies of tactics, how shall he contribute to the court? A hero or the commander. No, he's going to be a hero because he had a lot of boundless energy. He's educated, cruel, and a cruel hero and a bastard. Commander. Yeah, let's make him a commander actually. I think that fits his backstory a little bit better. A quarry. We'll go for a farm right there. And here we go, we have a unit. Why can we not attack? Are they too far away? What is your range actually? 2. 1, 2. Promote. Shield bearer. This is a ranged unit, and this I'm not entirely sure. I think might also be a ranged unit. So let's give him shield bearer. Let's invest in officers right here, and in Radion we'll invest in officers as well. We'll pick 2. Then over here, this is 3 years. So what after that, what are we going to do? Forum 2. And I think we might want to move some troops up north. Actually, the roads here really help. That is really good. Alright, we're going to put you over here, and then not put you to sleep, but put you in sentry mode actually. And now we have some troops to defend our city. We might even want to move these guys to the front. And let's add a general as well. Feretima the soldier. There we go. And with that we can end the year. Unless we want to put in an ambassador or a chancellor. But at this point I think that is a bit of a waste. We could put a governor in here. Queen Consort Egyptu would be a pretty decent choice. We'll lose a little bit of money, but we are making so much that barely matters. So let's go ahead and end this year. Let's see what these guys are going to land. They could land here, land here. But either way, they're going to be dead before the next turn is over. And that's nice because we could have had 3 enemy units here on the sea. And instead we will have a sturdy defense of 4 units. Let's go ahead and skip those animations. Alright, dealing with descent. Onset, unrest rules the streets of Region as the Zoroastrian descent continues unchecked. The Manichaean Duchess Tamia de Ancouf comes before the court to argue that the harshest measures should be taken with the rebellious religion. What will you decree? We will outlaw it, send in your forces to crack down on Region, we become intolerant, or seek a diplomatic resolution. And she will be disappointed, but Zoroastrianism will like us a little bit more, and I don't care. An age of tolerance and goodwill fills the land. Practitioners of all religions live in relative harmony and peace. Theological arguments are filled with heated words and vigorous gestures rather than drawn blade and spilled blood. There has never been a time such as this in the annals of our nation. How shall we strengthen these bonds and ensure tranquility among the faiths? As we have tolerance. True faith expresses itself in our actions and our words. We must meet with the religious leaders of our cities to find common ground. Ensure the stability by force. Any religious fanatics shall be imprisoned. They all become endeared, influenced, or they start conspiring. That's a lot of, yeah, now we gain culture levels. Ooh, that is actually really strong, and that will give us victory points as well. That will give us 3 victory points, and it will be at 65. And economic reform will hit in 3 years, giving us another one. So then we'll be at 66. We might actually end up with a victory point victory if we do that. So I think we'll go for legitimacy instead. And that poor Pericles, did you see what he was wearing? I could see the loose threads. Honestly, it reflects poorly on the court. Someone should see to Pericles' wardrobe. Alright, the rising star. Perhaps he just needs a reliable woman in his life. Duke Hippostratus pauses expectantly. My brother. Olympias, now there is the firecracker. Pericles needs to turn him around. See it done. I will make sure the royal tailors pay him a visit, or Pericles sets an example to us all. Waste not, want not. Let's go for the wedding, because that could be interesting. Let's see what the results of that are going to be. And again, we have a little bit of lag. It's really strange for a single player game. But it's fine. We'll go ahead and build some olives right there. Let's go ahead and build a theater in Larissa. And then we'll start attacking the enemy. Alright, you can finish him off. Perfect. Now, unfortunately, this thing doesn't have range enough to attack anything. So we're going to pass for 1 year. And then we're going to go ahead and invest in the city. And let's end this year. And for now, most of these cities, well, we have Apollonia coming up, but a lot of these cities, they will have enough tasks ascribed to them that they will just continue working, and we don't have to keep making choices. Because in 4 turns, victory should be ours. Let's go ahead and skip these turns as well. Right, a tsunami has occurred near Larissa. Interesting. Matriarch Adati the Tough is now the head of Judaism. Okay. Duchess Stratonice, our aunt, fears she does not have much time left. My brother has gained discipline. Princess Kainane is now old enough to be tutored by courtiers. And Chilonis has been feeling ill, but she is young and probably will recover. Now, my daughter... General Chilonis. Feretima. Anyway, Doesn't really matter. Spicy scheme. Missionary agents from Assyria are causing upheaval in Ephesus. Citizens are being duped into signing up for a chance to win a bushel of saffron, but only after they have inscribed their mark are they informed that they have also agreed to convert to Manichaeism, as they have a state religion. They simply should not allow themselves to be tricked or ban this sophistry. Now Assyria becomes disappointed. Yeah, we're not going to stand for that. Patriarch Diodorus the Wanton has been summoned in the wake of the tsunami. Once he promised that deference to the gods was the only way to save Greece, and so deference was given, and yet any sign of divine protection appears elusive. If the gods are yet angry, Diodorus insists, there are those that yet anger them. Aid me, great king, in rooting out the heretics who bring such doom upon us, and we shall avert greater calamities still. You shall have the authority to root out those that the gods cannot abide. Or go back to your crumbling shrines, Diodorus. I will not be taking your counsel in the future. Yes, piss off. Alright, what is Kanin going to learn? She is going to learn out in the world, because that is the coolest way of doing things. Alright, ooh, this guy can just wipe them out in one hit. That's kind of nuts, but also really cool. Alright, and with that, we're going to heal you up. I'm going to heal you up. We're going to move you to here, and we're going to put you in sentry mode. And we'll make some more choices that don't really matter too much. 8 turns signed up. That's 4. And then we'll do walls. And then over here. We'll go for a Dromon, because that doesn't matter. Then the Fraying Edge. A nervous-looking servant from the household of Pericles, the Rising Star, conveys a short missive. My king, do not judge me too harshly, but the gods have not given me strength enough for life here with Olympias the Scholar. I cannot remain, but by way of apology, I leave half my mother's savings to the crown and the rest to Olympias. May it bring her some solace. He disappeared. He hates her so much. Betrayal is betrayal. And the husband evict the wife. Or unfortunate. Yeah, okay, unfortunate. The prediction of Josephus the Intelligent. News reaches you of a suppressed Jewish rebellion in Pergamon. Surrounded and trapped in a cave, the remaining rebels refused to surrender and decided to die together, taking lots to determine who would be the next to be killed. This grisly tale is relayed by the last survivor, who surrendered himself to the authorities. This survivor, the erudite commander Joseph the Intelligent, swears loyalty and claims that he has been visited by a divine revelation that you will lead Judaism to great heights. Will you bring him to your court? Huh. Interesting. No, we have no use for his services. Doesn't really matter. Alright, we're going to... he has to like a negative, so we're going to make it neutral at least. Warlike for that one. You know what? Let's just put you to sleep. Let's put you to sleep. You to sleep. You to sleep. You to sleep. You to sleep, because it doesn't matter. Let's end this year. We can make choices and choices, but we are so close, and this video is becoming way too long. So we're just going to go ahead and rush through these turns as much as possible. Because, yeah, they're not going to have a long-term strategic effect on me anymore. Let's skip these animations. Now, I'm still reading through the events because it's interesting. Our spy master has died in office. Babylonia has gone from friendly to pleased. Chilonis is no longer ill, and Phthia of Arialysis is now head of Kypselids. Alright, Duke Durdas is growing up, fast and eager to learn. Politics. The tsunami has ended. Perfect. We'll put you to sleep. You to sleep. You to sleep. We have a lot of workers actually. You to sleep. You to sleep. You to sleep. Promotion, combat. and then to sleep. And I guess we have some... We'll make a cataphract here. Cataphracts in Chalkis. In Larissa we'll go for a horse archer. Over here we'll go for a cataphract, and then we'll end the year. There we go. Alright, skip animations. Hopefully that speeds things up a little bit, because on the next turn this should be finished. Or maybe just actually when you end the turn this counts down to 1, and then we have the next turn still to go through. Or maybe, like, I haven't been paying attention to that too much, to be honest. So let's see. This is the palace. Costs a lot of money. Discovered economic reform. Sure. Queen Claudia the Ready of Rome is dead. A new king, King Marcus the New, has taken the throne. King Shuma is dead, and Queen Kashaya the New of Babylonia has taken the throne. Caravan has arrived with more money. Duke Durdas has converted to Zoroastrianism, and Audata the minister is rather ill. We have become the beloved. Awesome. Arete becomes a courtier. A court merchant. Nice. And with that, yes, the palace is done. So, visiting Kashaya. With the death of King Shuma, the beloved of Babylonia, rule of Babylonia has passed to Queen Kashaya the New of Babylonia. Once the murmurs of shock from the court die down, the messenger reveals the main purpose of her visit. Kashaya has invited you to visit Babylonia on a diplomatic trip to visit the new ruler's lands. How will you use this opportunity? Try to befriend them, use this trip as a chance to spy and learn about their lands, or refuse to attend? For legitimacy. We're going for as high as legitimacy as possible. Duke Durdas has shown a remarkable aptitude with mathematics and geometry, rapidly mastering the basics. During a visit to the court, Durdas asked for advice on the best path to apply these studies. What guidance shall we provide? Engineers, carpenters, or it is important to have a well-rounded education? We're going for an engineer. Now, over the past few evenings, you have been glimpsed walking in the gardens with Duchess Tamia the uncouth of the court, my cousin. Word has reached your wife, and she expresses irritation at this familiarity. She demands that you remove such distractions, or she threatens to make your life on the throne much harder. Remove Tamia from the court immediately, she becomes exiles. By nonsense, buy her a monkey for amusement. Or not a bad idea, take Tamia as a lover. You know what? Last turn. Do we care? Let's go for a lover. And a lot of legitimacy. Alright, sleep. 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 Mangonel, because that's the closest thing. Then we'll make a choice. Military prestige. Let's go ahead and end this year. Because with that, the game should be won. As we finish off the Citadel in Nicomedia. And of course, we'll go ahead and skip the animations, I guess. And yeah, we don't have an ambassador, a chancellor, or a spy master anymore. This would have been useful still, but like I said, one more turn to go. So it doesn't really matter that much. Completed an ambition. There we go. The choice of legacy. The kingdom celebrates and the bards prepare their songs. Your name is already etched in the annals of history, but the world still turns and other paths to greatness remain. Do you accept this well-earned victory, or will you press onward to further enrich your legacy? So we could continue to achieve multiple different victories. The game will end if another player satisfies a different victory condition in the meantime. Or no, I will say, let's win. We have met the conditions. We have an ambition victory, win with sages and Greece, win with artisans, and the 1 through 5 have at least 3 cities, and spread your state religion. Achievements. Interesting. So, with the fulfillment of your ambitions, you and your family leave an everlasting legacy on history. Your family has proven itself as the rulers of Greece and will go down as the greatest dynasty of the old world. Congratulations, you have won an ambition victory by completing all of your ambitions. Show me how this came to pass. Show me how history will remember these times. I'm not done with my story, or my work here is done. Now let's see how this came to pass, because this is also a really interesting feature. We have a timeline and we can go all the way back to the beginning. And so this is where we started, and we can just say continue playing, and you can see all of the things that happen. So we'll do it a little bit faster, because also you can see how much we discovered of the world and when cities came into being, what happened when we discovered drama, stone cutting, and so on, right? And we can toggle off the fog, so we can see what other people are doing at the same time, and we can export this as a GIF animation, which is also kind of cool. But yeah, with that we have reached the end of the old world. So if you enjoyed this content, please do leave a like and a comment and let me know, because that always does really help the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys for whatever video I do next.